The playground had always been a place of joy and laughter for all the little ones. But today something had changed in the familiar world of games and giggles. Peppa and George are playing on the swings when suddenly all the toys start moving by themselves. Something strange is happening at the playground. A small, dark creature with rabbit ears emerges from behind a large tree. Labubu watches the children with a mysterious smile. Labubu approaches the children closer, his dot eyes glowing in the shadow. He wants to find new friends to play with. George drops his dinosaur toy, and it rolls right to Labubu's feet. The small creature picks up the dinosaur and starts playing with it. Labubu transforms the ordinary dinosaur into a living creature that roars and moves. Labubu's magic is both frightening and mesmerizing. Peppa calls Susie and Freddy to join the game with their new friend. The children don't understand that Labubu is not an ordinary child. Labubu suggests playing hide and seek, but his version of the game is nothing like the usual one. When the children close their eyes, the world around them changes. The playground transforms into a dark maze of tall bushes and trees. Labubu laughs, watching the children's confusion. Susie tries to find the exit, but every turn leads her deeper into the maze. Labubu plays with children by his own rules. Freddy hears strange sounds from the bushes, as if someone is whispering his name. Labubu can imitate voices to lure children. George starts crying, his tears turning into small glowing orbs. Labubu collects these orbs, becoming stronger from children's emotions. Peppa realizes they are trapped and tries to gather all friends together. Only together can the children resist Labubu's magic. The children hold hands and start singing their favorite song. Their friendship creates a bright light that destroys the dark maze. The maze disappears and the children find themselves back at the ordinary playground. But Labubu doesn't give up so easily. Labubu transforms into a shadow and hides under the swings, waiting for the right moment. He patiently waits for when the children want to play again. Emily Elephant and Pedro Pony arrive, unaware of the danger. Labubu is ready to start his game again. Labubu whispers to the new children about magical games and amazing adventures. His voice sounds sweet and enticing. Emily and Pedro agree to play, not listening to Peppa's warnings. Labubu joyfully rubs his small paws together. Labubu creates an illusion of a fairy tale sandcastle right on the playground. The new children look at this wonder with admiration. But when Emily and Pedro enter the sandcastle, it begins to grow around them. Labubu lures children into his world of games. Peppa and her friends try to help, but the castle keeps getting taller and taller. Labubu laughs, enjoying his new game. Peppa's family went to summer camp. The place seemed perfect for a peaceful vacation. The road home disappeared completely. Nobody could find the way out of the dark forest. Phones stopped working entirely. Connection to the outside world was lost forever and completely. Daddy Pig maintains his composure carefully, but his eyes reveal growing fear and anxiety inside. Mummy Pig cooks dinner with trembling hands. The food becomes increasingly strange and unappetizing. George plays with his toys silently. His usual cheerful laughter is no longer heard anywhere. At night, strange sounds in the forest. Something big and terrifying moves between the trees. Grandpa Pig behaves very strangely now. He talks to invisible creatures around him constantly. Granny Pig forgets family names completely. Her gaze becomes empty and completely absent from reality. A yellow figure appears in camp. Labubu watches the family from a safe distance carefully. Daddy Pig starts digging a deep hole. He claims he is searching for an exit desperately. Mummy Pig stops cooking food entirely. She only stares at one fixed point in space. George talks to his toys constantly. They answer him with strange and very eerie voices. Grandpa Pig disappears for a whole day. He returns with completely empty and lifeless eyes. Granny Pig draws strange, mysterious symbols. She cannot remember her own name anymore at all. Labubu approaches closer to camp slowly. His yellow eyes glow brightly in the darkness around. Daddy Pig digs deeper and deeper frantically. The hole becomes similar to a freshly dug grave. Mummy Pig sings a haunting lullaby. The words of this song frighten everyone around her. George stops being a child completely. His behavior becomes adult and very creepy and disturbing. Labubu enters the camp openly now. Nobody tries to stop him from entering their space. The family gathers around the hole. They look down with completely empty and expressionless faces. Labubu explains the rules of this world. Isolation has changed them all forever and irreversibly. Peppa realizes there is no exit possible. The camp has become their permanent home for eternity. The family accepts new reality calmly. Sanity is no longer needed in this strange place. Labubu stays with them forever now. The isolated camp gained new permanent residence for life. Peppa Pig's house always seemed like a safe place, warm and cozy. But today something had changed within these familiar walls. Peppa was playing in her room when she heard a strange scratching sound. The noise came from under her bed like someone sharpening claws. George sat in the living room with his favorite dinosaur toy. Suddenly, the toy turned its head toward the window by itself. A pink shadow with big ears flashed past the window. Labubu was watching the house from the garden's darkness. Mummy Pig was cooking dinner when the pots began to tremble. Something invisible was walking around the kitchen beside her. Daddy Pig was reading his newspaper when letters started to blur. They formed into one word: Labubu. Peppa came downstairs and saw wet footprints on the floor. The tracks led from the front door to the attic. The family gathered in the living room, but nobody could explain the strange events. The air became cold and heavy. Labubu appeared in the doorway, smiling his eerie smile. His eyes glowed in the room's dim light. He didn't speak, just stared at each family member. Time seemed to stop in that moment. Peppa tried to approach the strange creature, but her legs wouldn't obey. Labubu slowly shook his head. George hid behind the sofa, clutching his dinosaur tightly. The toy suddenly felt ice cold to touch. Mummy and Daddy Pig couldn't move, as if they were under a spell. Labubu walked around the room in circles. The creature stopped before the family portrait on the wall. His reflection appeared in the photograph. Labubu reached out toward Peppa but didn't touch her. Instead, he pointed at the mirror in the hallway. The mirror reflected not their home, but a dark forest. Labubu slowly backed toward the reflection. He vanished into the mirror forest, but his laughter echoed through the house. The sound grew fainter and fainter. The family could move again, but something had changed forever. Fear had settled in their home. Every night, shadows flickered in the mirrors. Labubu waited for his moment in the reflected world. Peppa no longer played alone in her room. She knew Labubu was always watching. The house on the hill looked the same as before, but inside lived a secret. Labubu had become part of this place, and now everyone who looks into the house's mirrors might see his smile. Labubu waits for new friends in his dark world. Madame Gazelle's cheerful nursery was suddenly plunged into an ominous, deeply unsettling silence this morning. Peppa noticed strange, deep scratches mysteriously carved into the bright, colorful playroom walls around her. George clutched his beloved green Mr. Dinosaur toy tightly, sensing terrible danger approaching nearby. A quiet, sinister laugh echoed mysteriously from the darkest, most shadowy corner of the room. Two glowing blue eyes appeared in the darkness with cold, piercing supernatural light. Labubu slowly and carefully crawled out from behind the colorful wooden toy cabinet. His thick black fur seemed to absorb and devour all the bright, cheerful light around him. The wide, toothy smile became increasingly more frightening, menacing, and terrifying with each passing moment. The terrified children froze completely in horror, absolutely unable to move their trembling bodies. Pedro Pony stumbled clumsily and fell down hard, tripping over his own trembling hooves. The mysterious, strange creature approached the frightened little ones very slowly and deliberately. His sharp, dark claws scraped across the smooth nursery floor with an eerie, haunting sound. Peppa tried desperately to scream for help, but her voice completely disappeared from overwhelming fear. Labubu stopped right before them and spoke in a ghostly wind's whisper. He sadly told the children about his terrible loneliness in the dark, cold world. Brave Peppa carefully reached out her small, trembling hand toward the mysterious creature. Little George peeked out cautiously from behind his protective sister's back with growing curiosity. No one had ever tried to befriend him before in his entire lonely existence. The kind children decided to show lonely Labubu their fun, joyful games together. They built a tall, colorful tower and drew bright, beautiful pictures side by side. The frightening, toothy smile gradually began to seem more kind, gentle, and genuinely friendly. But when the inevitable parting time came, poor Labubu became deeply sad once again. Generous George gave him his small, precious toy dinosaur as a heartfelt farewell gift. Labubu slowly dissolved into the thick, dark shadows forever and disappeared completely from sight. Every evening, the children noticed mysterious blue flickering lights dancing in the windows. Peppa and George were playing in the living room when suddenly all the toys began to move on their own. George dropped his dinosaur and it shattered into pieces. Peppa laughed, but George cried. His tears turned black like tar. Frightened, Peppa ran to her room. The house grew cold and dark. Mirrors showed strange shadows, and in Peppa's bedroom mirror appeared a silhouette with huge eyes, Labubu. She felt breathing on her neck. George sat in the living room, surrounded by dark figures. Labubu whispered into his ear with invisible lips. In the kitchen, Mummy Pig found all the food spoiled and strange symbols crawling on the walls. Sinister laughter echoed everywhere. Daddy Pig tried to switch on the lights, but the bulbs burst one by one. Footsteps sounded in the darkness, yet no one was there. Labubu grew stronger. When Peppa left her room, George had vanished, leaving only black footprints. In the bathroom, taps ran with black water, and the mirror cracked, revealing red eyes. The family gathered in the living room, but George was missing. A dark figure sat on the sofa. Labubu revealed his true face. Susie Sheep came to visit but saw the house sealed from within. She knocked, but no one answered. Freddy Fox and Danny Dog searched for their friends and found the house abandoned, the grass around it blackened. Inside, Labubu controlled the family like puppets. Their eyes were empty. Peppa tried to escape, but every door led to the same room. Labubu laughed and showed her George, standing motionless with a hollow stare. Madame Gazelle arrived, worried why the children hadn't come to school. The house was shrouded in fog, the air trembling. Emily Elephant and her mummy passed by, hearing children crying. Then silence. Granny and Grandpa Pig visited and found the house empty. Children's drawings crawled on the walls. At night, neighbors saw shadows flicker in the windows. Labubu danced with his new toys, the family forever trapped in his dark world. By morning, the house looked normal, but no one was inside. On the table lay a note from Peppa, the word Labubu, written over and over in childish handwriting. Pedro Pony peeked through a window and saw silhouettes of the family at the table. When he waved, they turned toward him, empty sockets staring. Wendy Wolf heard children laughing from the basement. She found George's toys, but the laughter went on. Labubu watched from the attic, glowing eyes fixed on the town. He had already chosen his next family. In the final scene, the camera moved through the empty house. On the wall hung a family photo, but the faces were erased. Only Labubu smiled from the dark corner. Peppa Pig's house always seemed like a safe place, warm and cozy. But when night falls, even the most familiar streets become strange and frightening. Peppa and her family are returning home after visiting Granny and Grandpa Pig. But something goes wrong. Daddy Pig's car suddenly breaks down in the middle of a dark road. The headlights go out, leaving the family in complete darkness. Daddy Pig tries to start the car, but it won't start. Strange sounds come from the forest next to the road. Mummy Pig suggests walking to the nearest house. The family gets out of the car and starts walking down the dark road. George notices that the road looks different. Familiar signs have disappeared, replaced by strange symbols. Peppa turns around and sees that the car has vanished. In its place stands an old abandoned bus with broken windows. The family continues walking, but the road leads them further from home. Houses they've never seen before appear around them. Susie Sheep comes out of one of the houses, but she looks strange. Her eyes glow in the dark and her smile seems unnatural. Susie silently points to a path leading into the forest. The family reluctantly follows her, not understanding what's happening. In the forest, they meet Freddy Fox and Danny Dog. But their friends also behave strangely, as if they don't recognize the family. Labubu appears from behind a large tree. His crimson eyes burn in the darkness, and his sinister smile promises trouble. Labubu starts playing hide-and-seek with the family. Every time they think they've found the exit, he moves them to another place. The road home disappears every time they turn around. Labubu laughs, watching their confusion. Pedro Pony appears in the clearing and offers to help. But when the family approaches, they see it's not the real Pedro. Emily Elephant and her mummy also appear in the forest. They point in different directions, confusing the family. Labubu creates illusions of familiar places. The family sees their house, but when they get closer, it turns into an abandoned hut. George starts crying and his tears turn into glowing drops. Labubu collects them, becoming even stronger. Mummy Pig realizes they're trapped by Labubu. She hugs the children tightly, trying to protect them with her love. The family holds hands and starts singing a lullaby. Their unity creates a bright light that scares Labubu away. Labubu retreats into the shadows, but his eyes continue watching the family. The road home finally appears before them. The family runs down the road without looking back. They reach their house and quickly go inside. But when Peppa looks out the window, she sees Labubu across the street.